Welcome again to my high school football championship series for college football 26. Quick reminder that all of these teams are available for download and use in your college football 26 video game. Simply search for my username down there at the bottom, Dreadwin94, and you can download and import any one of these teams into your college football 26 video game. Simply make sure that you're searching for the username search box and you're not searching in the keyword search box when you're looking these teams up. All right, so this is what we've got lined up for this week, our week 6 action. We're going to be seeing South Terrebonne at South Lafourche. We're going to be seeing Thibodaux at Ellender. We're going to be seeing Morgan City at HL Bourgeois. And we're going to be seeing Terrebonne at Central Lafourche. But for the first game, we're going to go to South Terrebonne and South Lafourche. So let's pull up our gameplay here. And I've got this set up and ready to go. So you can see the matchup there. It should be a good matchup. South Terrebonne all season long has really relied on their defense primarily and a strong running game. We're going to see how this one goes. South Terrebonne has been in a fight every single game. I think all of their games have been within one score, if I remember correctly, or at least all of their victories have. So I'm pretty sure their loss to Terrebonne was a one-score game also. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. South Lafourche has kind of been up and down a little bit. We'll see how it works out. As far as uniforms go, let's take a quick peek at what they're going to be wearing. So South Lafourche is wearing a custom uniform of my own creation. So I like to give all of these teams 5 different uniform options, and this is one where I just kind of went off the rails a little bit and tried something just a little bit different. My inspiration was the Raiders uniform, the silver and black. I figured if any team would do something just completely off the wall, it would be these guys. I've got the little Tarpons logo there. It's hard to see on the screen, but there is a Tarpons logo on the side right there. And a lot of teams have a blackout. I didn't necessarily want to go with a straight blackout for these guys, so this is what I went with. You might see a little bit of blue in there. Um, but yeah, that's what I got going for them. So we'll see how that works out. And then of course South Terrebonne, they're just using their standard default away uniform. So that's what that's going to look like. All right, let's get into the action. Enough talk. And we're setting 8 p.m. clear weather. So here we go. We're going down to Cutoff, Louisiana, to watch the South Terrebonne Gators take on the South Lafourche Tarpons. I'm going to kick it over to the broadcast booth here, and I'll catch you guys on the other side when we see how this one works out.
The kickoff team is on the field, and we're ready to get this one underway. And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. And, David, we've got a quarterback today who's been known for making enough plays when his team needs them.
Yeah, and listen, he's a guy that this offense is built around him. But, Jesse, he's not the guy that's going to take over. He needs the running game to get going. He needs the passing game. He needs a little bit of balance. Really good football player, but he needs the help of the quality teammates around him.
Yeah, you're right. I think the one thing we've seen with this guy is he's got to get into a rhythm in games early, right? So whether it's running the football or getting a few completions early to get his confidence going, because once that happens, he's very, very good.
Some hard running there, but just too many defenders as he stopped for a loss. You make up the game plan and
place for us in the end zone. When we're taking shots, we need to be able to step up and make tough catches. And David, what a grab right there.
And I think a lot of that has to do with trusting your guy, knowing where he's going to be, knowing when he's going to sit down, when he's not. So being on the same page, and then having a guy that can go get him. Just when the ball is near him, he's going to make the play, just like he did right there for 6 points.
And the extra point is good, and it's 7-0. That is an efficient drive. 7 plays, 75 yards. The kickoff unit is out there, and boy, did that last drive quiet this crowd. On the move from inside his 5. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. The matchup we'll be watching in this one really takes you back. Big-time running back going right into the face of a tackling machine at linebacker, David.
Yeah, and we're going to see this individual battle a lot, not just in pass coverage when they match up, but just meeting in holes. And who's going to win when they go head-to-head? That will be a big factor in who wins this football game. But Jesse, one-on-one, this is going to be a show.
And this is going to be an incredible matchup that's going to go on until there's zeros up on the clock. Both of these guys have circled this game on the calendar because they knew who they were going to be facing. Two guys we know are going to play at the next level, but I think this is probably one of the better individual matchups we're going to see all season long.
One man in the backfield, and he gets it. Pretty good effort on that one to work his way up to the 42. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. Looking to fire. Got his man quickly. And they reacted well to the completion, but it was too late to keep him from getting the first down. Off the play fake on first down to throw. Fires to the big fella. And he goes out of bounds after coming up with positive yardage there. Line getting set on 2nd down. Back to pass. And the pass is incomplete thanks to a big hit. Couldn't find his man last time, and that leaves him with a 3rd and 6. Wants to throw it. Here comes the heat. Fires to the tight end. Putting together a real scoring threat here as they pick up the first down at the 36. Keeps it on the bootleg. Makes the grab on the left. And they pick up just a few on that completion. So now it's 2nd and long. Wants to go up top. Quickly to the tight end. He's close to the first down, but they're going to mark him just a little short. They'll snap it from the 28 in field goal range, but it's 3rd and short. They'll try to get it through the air. Grabbed over the middle. It's Dillon. Just outside the red zone as they pick up the first down. They'll spot it at the 22. Use the play fake. Now to throw. Working that left side now. The ball is down at the 14 after that grab. Going to work in the red zone. They can't pick up the first down without getting it into the end zone. Now the play fake. Finds his big tight end. That completion will take them inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. See if these guys can get back in the game in the 2nd quarter. They'll try to open the quarter by cashing in on this big opportunity deep in the red zone. Looking to throw. Trying to barrel in. And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain. Picked up some of what they needed on first down. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 5. And the quarterback pulled up 2 and sacked at the 12.
That's an area of the field the quarterback just cannot take a sack on. 2nd down inside the 5-yard line. If it's not open, you just got to throw it away because now you've backed yourself up even further. It's going to be even harder to throw this thing into the end zone or to score a touchdown, that's going to be a learning opportunity for this young man.
It's 3rd and goal and a long way from the end zone. They'll go to the air. They've got the screen set up. Looking for the end. It's going for the goal line. Makes the easy catch and weaves his way into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, and that's a nice job selling it by the offense, dropping back, making it look like it's pass. And running back slipping out of the backfield, throwing the football, getting a dynamic playmaker in space, and he says, I got this, I'll do the rest, and gets the touchdown.
Setting up for the extra point and the tie. And the extra point was good as they finished the drive. They held the ball for 15 plays on that touchdown drive. And the score comes on a 12-yard touchdown pass. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. From the gun, the running back has it. They finally get to him. But what a play there to pick up the first down. Big chunk play to start this drive. Now they'll really try to take it to this defense. Finds his man. Knocked down immediately, but a nice pickup on that one. A little bit more to go after that last completion. They'll try to pick it up on 2nd down. They'll run play action. Looking for a deep man. Catch inside the 25. Turning it on. He stopped just short of the goal line at the 1. An explosive play has him set up.
And that's the dangerous part about this offense, man. They'll get the ball out to a receiver. They can do that. They can make plays after the catch. Hard to bring down, hard to tackle. That's why this offense can be so explosive.
After that big play, they're trying to pay it off right on the goal line. A first down run on the doorstep. And the defense sold out to stop the run, and they do here on first down. Now on the option. Now the toss. Just hammering with this running back again, and he noses his way into the end zone.
And a great job by the quarterback, Reese, making the right read. I got to get that defense to commit to me. Now I pitch it. Running back catches it. I'll take this. I'll do the rest. But it's a great read by the quarterback.
The AT unit on the field. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. And they capped it off with a 1-yard plunge. He'll start the return inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. And the offense takes over to dip into its bag of ball plays. Running back searching for a hole. Gets the nose of the ball to the 25, giving 1. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. Here's the handoff. And some room to work. Out across the 30 mark, down at the 35 after the 10-yard gain.
And, you know, big chunks like this don't happen unless you commit to the run game. You got to get those big boys up front into the game, understanding I want to knock people off the football, create some holes like you do here for my running back, make the game easy.
Grab behind the line. It's Dillon. He'll go out of bounds right at the 40-yard line as this offense continues to show great patience. One running back in the backfield, and he has it. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. Shotgun snap, wants to throw it on 3rd. And here's a fumble way behind the line. The offense somehow fell on it, and they'll retain possession.
Man, those are backbreakers. Defensively, you get so excited. You force the fumble, I'm going to get a turnover, and the offense falls on it.
gets this from inside the 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. We'll see them really hit the speed button on the tempo here in the final minute of the first half. Powers through the defender. We've got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. Second down, he'll throw it. Finds his man. It's Dillon. Breaks a tackle, and he's got room. He works his way up to the 33 and is pushed out of bounds. Looking downfield on first down. And that's not the way they drew it up. It's incomplete. Backed up now here, second and long. Couldn't connect on first down, now back to the air. This one's complete. They'll get him down at the 48 after the 15-yard gain. The offense will stop the clock and use one of its timeouts. Catch in the middle, it's Dillon. They'll stop him at the 41, but he's got 10 yards and they'll move the chains. Wants to go up top on first down. It's complete to the right. Forced out of bounds, and they'll mark it dead at the 34.
Guys out in the backfield now, it's not just run the ball downhill anymore. You got to be versatile. I got to be able to trust you in the pass game, and I got to be able to throw you the football, and you can do that right there. I know you're going to catch it, and I can depend on it.
And here on second down, they'll send out the field goal unit to try to get 3 before the break. Thought he had it and couldn't get it through the uprights. He missed it. The missed field goal still leaves us with a double-digit deficit, still a 10-point game. They'll have just enough time to get one more snap before the half. The give to the back. A confident, tough, efficient run gets it up to the 44. The offense uses a timeout to stop the clock, and they'll get a quick breather. To the ground with the back. They make the stop, and that is the end of the first half. That's going to wrap up the first half here, and now we join Kevin with the halftime update.
Fellas, many thanks. Happy to provide a break in the action to kind of pour over exactly what has transpired so far. And talk about a first half for the dude in that backfield. That coaching staff has been giving rave reviews on a weekly basis. And through 2 quarters today, he's been a complete game changer. He's breaking the will of this defense, and that's something that's just very tough to quantify. It's time to throw it back to our guys in the booth to start up the second half.
We're just about ready to start the second half. On the run from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. Now this offense is back on the field. Under fire. Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance. They're dealing with a second and long. After the incompletion, back to the passing game. Fired just a little too long as the junior frustrated he missed that connection. And this offense is desperate to keep this drive alive, trailing by multiple possessions, and it's getting late. And the pressure was too much. They get him at the 15.
Well, the defense knew coming into the second half here, they were going to have to crank up the pass rush, right? They've got the lead. They're going to be seeing this quarterback drop back. How can you affect him? You've got to win up front one-on-one and get home, and they did there on third down.
They bring the punter onto the field now. 3 and out, and not much choice but to get rid of the ball. The solid return there offsets some of the punt yardage and really sets up this offense nicely. Quarterback on the keeper. Not a whole lot of room there. 3 yards maybe. Second and 7. kicker, defense. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. Leaves it with the back. Nice pickup on the ground there, and they'll move the sticks for the first down. And now they've moved into the red zone. Might as well give it to him again. They are ready this time. Tackle behind the line of scrimmage. After that big run, the defense answers. Second down, they'll go to the air. Get it out on the screen. And that one looked great on the grease board, but when they blow it up like that, the defense is going to win every time. The play action fake. Throws toward the end zone. It's picked off, and they ruin the drive with a turnover.
Man, it's really nice as a defense to force third and long, where you can bring in the nickel, Jesse, and you can play zone coverage with those zone eyes on the quarterback.
Yeah, as a quarterback, too, you got to know with that extra DB out there, your timing better be good and you better be accurate, because if you're not, they've got ball hawks in the back end, and that errant throw gets picked.
Here comes the offense back onto the field. Off play action on first down. Here's the pressure. And the heat will get home, and the quarterback goes down at the 17.
But when it's a play-action pass, that quarterback, he really has to sell the fake. He can't tell his offensive lineman's getting beat right away while he's selling the fake. He had no shot.
A first down sack can be a drive killer. Now it's 2nd and 13. Looking to fire. It's complete to the left. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain. Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. 3rd and long, back up inside their 20. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up. So no dice on 3rd down, and they'll punt it away on 4th. He was hoping for a little more running room, but they're able to get him down at the 45. So we'll see this offense make its way out to start the drive. Gonna run it. It's Butler.
Listen, quarterbacks run more nowadays, and we see more of it, but they do have a tendency, because they are a quarterback, to cough it up a little bit. But how about the man? He said, I got this, and jumps back on it, make sure he covers that thing up so he didn't make a bad play for his offense.
The punt team makes its way onto the field. He's getting a lot of work. Fourth time he's punted tonight. And the returner will be dragged down. They'll put it in play from the 36 for the first play of the drive. He'll keep it himself. He showed off a few moves, but not enough to get away from all of those defenders as they stop him for a loss. He leaves it with his back. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it. And the running game has been going in the wrong direction. They'll try to get their first positive play of the drive here on third down. He took a hit as he threw it and couldn't deliver the football. It's incomplete and fourth down's coming. So they couldn't get it done on third down. Now they'll line up in punt formation. Excellent coverage that time. Didn't give him any room to set up a big return. So guys, we'll get another look at this offense. Coming out on first down with the play fake. And the pressure was too much. They get him at the 15.
Man, I think this quarterback needs to take his offensive line out for dinners more often, because they're not protecting him. And sometimes it doesn't even look like they're trying. That now the 6th sack of the game for this defense.
As they get set to snap it, just about to reach the end of the quarter. Lost the fire on second down. Had to throw it before he wanted. It falls incomplete and will change ends of the field to get things started back up. One more period to go to see who can make the winning plays and come home with the victory. With the break, they had a little extra time to dial something up for this third down play. Looking downfield, and he needs a bunch. And that defense gets to him, and down he goes at the 9.
Goodness gracious, this is a master class, a clinic on how to get to the quarterback. The 7th sack of the game. Are you kidding me? That's a season for some teams. They've lived in the backfield.
They bring the punter onto the field now. 3 and out. They got stuck in reverse. They hope the punt can bail them out. He'll get away another punt. He's been really active today, and no doubt he's going to earn his varsity letter. He was able to get that ball up to the 48-yard line before he stopped on the return. They'll run it from the gun. Ran through the contact.
It's a point in the game, I think, as a coaching staff, where you really challenge your offensive line to go win the football game, right? We've got to lead late. We're going to run the football. And the defense and everybody in the
just winning in the trenches. They're easily the more athletic and more physical unit up front, dominating this O-line.
The defense all revved up after that earlier sack, and they'll try to stop them right here. On 3rd and long, a check down will be the last resort. Can't make the play on the interception, and man, they were looking for their first pick of the game. Instead, it'll be 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. Picked off. What a play to set him up. He goes down right there, but not before coming up with a big interception.
And that's a really good job by the defense, understanding the situation of football. It's 4th down. It's late in the game. You got a multi-possession lead. Take away all the deep stuff. Make them force the football into coverage. They do, and they stamp this game.
Great place to start for this offense. Gonna run it. It's Butler. Oh, he's got some space. They get him on the ground, but not before he rumbles all the way to the 5. A great chance to put this game away with a score here on 1st and goal. Tight end finds a soft spot. He's all the way down to the 2-yard line. Just spectacular execution there. Offense trying to pay it off on 2nd and goal. They're going to run it. And there was nowhere to go. Just stopped in his tracks in the backfield. They love to make this short field pay off with a touchdown instead of a field goal, but it's 3rd and goal. And the incomplete pass will bring up 4th down. And this kicker has had a busy night. The field goal unit is out there for the 3rd time. That is no good. After the missed field goal, this lead's still sitting at 13.
And that's frustrating. I mean, you put a drive together, you're in scoring zone. Like, this is a green zone. You should be making all of these kicks, these short field goals, the chip shots. Kickers have to come through. They got to do their job.
They're going to throw it to start the drive. Find space on the right. They'll be stopped and forced out of bounds right around the 34-yard line, and now they've got a little something brewing. They'll run it from the gun. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and this offense has to find a way to run the football. They got to get more creative, whatever that looks like for this offense, something to jumpstart them because nothing really going on the ground.
Yeah, defensively, though, you got to give them credit, too, because they knew that physically they were going to try to be challenged up front. That was a big MO for this offense coming into it. But the defense, they've risen to the occasion. Their front 7 has dominated this entire game.
Down by multiple possessions, they can't come up empty on this drive in the 4th quarter. They'll go for it on 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. Nowhere to go, and the ball is loose. And the offense will recover, but it's not going to make any difference as they're short of the first down marker.
Man, those are so frustrating when you're a defense and you swarm to the football and you stick the quarterback and you make him cough it up just to have the other team recover it again and you don't get it. Still a good stick, still a good physical play. Keep hitting that quarterback.
And the offense out on the field to go back to work. A bit frustrating to miss that short field goal the last time they had it, but this time around, see if they can redeem themselves. Spins away from the defender. Turning it on. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. They're down to the 20, 1st and 10. Incomplete. Looked as if he had his man, but just a misfire from this senior. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on 2nd down. They'll run it to keep the clock moving. Can't get him to the ground. How about that run as he drives it all the way down to the 13-yard line? looking for blockers. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. They'll snap this one to start the drive from their own 22. The give to the back. And they picked up 9 on first down. It'll bring up second and short. Sprinting to the line to try to get this one off. Clock's running. Going to take a shot on second and short. Got his man down the middle. Able to work it to the 39-yard line, and that'll be a first down.
Important in the passing game that it's not just receivers doing all the work. You got to get running backs involved. You got to get your big fellas. You got to get the tight ends going too.
They'll snap it from the 39. First and 10. To the air on first down. Rush is on him. That pressure got to him, and he just had to chuck it out of bounds. Behind the chains now on second and long. They'll throw again after the incompletion. Using the back as a receiver on the screen.
It's always interesting how people handle late game. Like, you know this game is over. There's not a lot to gain from it, but some people try to throw the ball deep and continue to make plays. They throw it short. The clock's running out, and there's not a lot to talk about that's going to be positive for this offense. And this is just one of those days, man, where everything has gone wrong, right? Like, they just haven't been in a rhythm. They haven't got it going and never built the momentum. This is one of those days that you learn from, you try to grow from. A lot of things that we're going to show in the film room that people aren't going to like, but hopefully you can learn from it and do better next time.
Looking to throw on first down. Got it in the middle. It's Petrie. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down marker. He'll spike the ball to try to save every precious second he can. Third and short, coming from the 34. You wonder if this is 4-down territory. The give to the running back from the shotgun. Moving deeper into enemy territory. Move the chains. It's first down at the 27. Got to get everyone set. They spike it to stop the clock. What will they dial up on second and a long way to go? Back to pass. Makes the grab down the middle. And the defense had that one well covered. Just a short gain there. Let's see what they've dialed up on third and long from the 22. From the gun, wants to pass. Unloads to the wideout. Finds a man on the right. Perfectly thrown ball. Nice catch. Good tackle. And it's first and goal from the 5. Likely a lost cause, but they'll throw it again. He's got him. And he'll get in for the late touchdown consolation prize, the window dressing score to make the final outcome a little closer. We're going to wrap this one up with the PAT.
And I love the decision by the quarterback, finding his playmaker, getting him the football quickly so that he can make something happen after the play and get 6.
All right, I was waiting for a player of the game to pop up, but it didn't happen for some reason. Interesting. Um, okay, so South Terrebonne, that does it for game one. South Terrebonne handles business in the first game of the season that ends in a double-digit margin, or I'm sorry, a more than a single score margin. That's probably the way I should put that. Every South Terrebonne game this year has ended in a one-score game. This is their first effort that was finished with multiple scores. Even their loss to Terrebonne was a 7-point loss. So this is their first time they've been able to put up multiple scores or get a multiple score lead on a team and hold on to that. Just kind of that last touchdown there in garbage time for South Lafourche. So South Lafourche will fall. Let's go ahead and go over the stats real quick. Sorry, I went out of that. Once again, we can't keep track of stats in the game from week to week because we're doing the play now mode. So what I like to do is just come in here after each game and go through them manually. So anyone wants to keep track at home, you can hit just pause the screen and write the stuff down if you like. All right, South Lafourche, passing stats, filling in a lot of pass attempts for him. He had a lot of sacks in this game as well. Boy, early on, it really looked like both teams are just going to go up and down the field there for a minute, but then the South Terrebonne defense really settled in and kind of took over the game at that point. Again, a lot of sacks in this one, so we're going to see that here in probably, yeah, the rushing yardage right here, minus 65 rushing yards. That's all from sacks right there. He had more sack yardage than this guy had rushing yardage. That's crazy. All right, we see that a lot in these games too. Um, I'm wondering if there's a slider. I'm hesitant to adjust sliders. I kind of want to leave the sliders where they are for the whole season. But let's see. These are receiving. Gosh, were there that many receptions? Look at that. A lot of single receptions. Talk about spreading the ball around, man. I don't think I've ever seen this many receivers catching a pass in a game before. I actually thought this was the defensive stats for a second. That's how many. That's pretty crazy. All right, blocking. Now we get to defensive. There we go. And let's see, we did have a couple of turnovers. There's the interception that South Lafourche had. We'll go through these real quick. So, yeah, South Terrebonne again handles business. And Stewart came out hot throwing the ball. We're going to look at his stats here in just a second. Here are the kicking stats, punting stats, and then we'll move on to South Terrebonne. All right, Stewart with at least he got up to a hot start early. It looks like he cooled off a little bit in the second half. 11 of 21, 149, one touchdown. He did have the one interception. I'll tell you what, I still wish there was a way the CPU, it just, it's so frustrating to sit back and watch the CPU throw bombs on third down when they don't need to be throwing a deep bomb all the time. I was really expecting Butler to get player of the game there. 18 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know why he didn't pull up player of the game. That was kind of weird. And then he had two catches too. Hargrove had a good catch, a couple good catches in that one. Hartman had that great touchdown catch there at the beginning of the game. Rest of the stats there. We'll move on to blocking and then defensive. And there was a takeaway here too. There's the interception that South Terrebonne had. But yeah, the computer, I swear, it seems like 80% of the time on third down, all it wants to do is throw a long bomb. And it's fine for it to do that every once in a while, but geez, it should be more like 20 or 30%, not 80%. I don't get why it does that so much. All right, that does it for game one. So South Terrebonne remains a one-loss team, which means next week is going to be very, very important for them because they're currently the only one-loss team that we've got, which means with Terrebonne sitting at number one undefeated right now, we'll have to see how that goes. Now, theoretically, Terrebonne could drop this game and next week's game, so they could theoretically drop two games here over the next 2 weeks, while South Terrebonne only has the one loss. So next week would be very important for South Terrebonne. They don't want to go down to two losses. That could run the risk of them dropping out of those top two spots there because when we get into the playoffs, uh, number one and number two in the rankings with the standings that we have are going to get the bye week. So they definitely want to try and get that bye week if they can. So next week's going to be an important game for South Terrebonne. Try and hold on to one of those bye week spots. All right. That does it for game one. Let me go to my pause screen and I'll get everything set up for game two in the background, and we'll be right back. So stick with me.